I'd call this meeting of the Harrison School District Board of Education for June into order, into session. I'd like to open up with a prayer, please. Father, thank you again for this beautiful day you've given us. Thank you for all your blessings. We ask that you be with our students and staff this summer, with all of our students, wherever they may be, that you keep them safe and get them prepared for the next school year. We ask for a special prayer and ask for your grace in taking care of those families who either lost loved ones or property during the recent storms. In particular, family of one of our students at Skyline Heights. We ask that you be with them and guide them. They're going to need your grace for many, many years. Again, we thank you for all these blessings and ask these things in your name. Amen.
If you don't mind, Mr. Magnus, I'd like to lead in the pledge tonight.
If you know it.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Pratt. Do we have any correspondence and ratification?
We do not in the month of June.
Okay. We'll move on to disposition of minutes, and we have two meetings in which to approve. So the first one is the meeting of last May the 16th.
Would you entertain, can we approve both of those at one time? I'll make a motion, if that's possible, to approve both meetings at one time.
So you make a motion for May 16th and June the 4th.
That's correct.
Is there a second? Second. Have a second by Mr. Markman, motion by Mr. Burnside. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Minutes are approved. We'll move on to disposition of routine reports. And I would entertain a motion for those as well.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Ms. McLaughlin, a second by Ms. Keelan.
Yes, I'd like to report that Linda Bradford, our cycle report core data person, communicated that our third quarter ADM for this year, that's what we receive our financing on from the state, is 2,723. Our final student numbers was right at 2,700. We were down about 50 students this year.
Okay. Any comments or other questions?
Can you, we don't often talk about, and we probably, for good reason, don't talk about other districts. Can you give us a co-op view of what enrollment is like in other districts from your recall?
Yeah, our area leaders, pretty steady, might be down a little bit. Valley's lost some students. Co-ops, within the co-op itself, all the schools are indicating their student enrollments are just not as strong as they've been in the past. So they're down. Some of them are down. Some of them are fighting to just stay right at the same spot.
And one of your comments in our discussion was the reason for that.
Well, I think since COVID and since school choice, we have several families that are choosing homeschool model quite a bit, and I think that's becoming more prevalent. And the State Department of Education tracks birth rates in counties, and according to DESE, the birth rate in Boone County has decreased in the last 5 years, and they're showing that we'll have a smaller and smaller kindergarten class in the upcoming years. So.
And obviously that might be offset with individuals that move in,
Moving in,
there's
yeah.
housing and that available. Yep. So that might change.
We don't foresee, let me clarify it. I don't think we foresee that there will be a large decrease in our enrollment. I do think that it'll teeter back and forth, and we're waiting to see. Right now we have early indication we've got a pretty good kindergarten class. There's a big run at the very end right before school starts. We're hoping we have 210 and we'll be right back to our average again. But we have early enrollment and it's very healthy at this point.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, like a motion for approval of routine reports. Do I have it? Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. Ms. McLaughlin and Ms. Keelan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carries. We'll move on to new business 7A, consider athletic handbook.
Yeah, we're very appreciative tonight. Joel Wells, our assistant athletic director, is with us tonight. Mr. Pratt Coach Pratt is down at the state All-Star Games that are going on for the last, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Last when he's there, they run through Saturday.
The rest of the week,
all over, but-
yeah. So he's down there, we have some students participating, and he's representing us there, and appreciate that. But tonight, Coach Wells, Athletic Director Coach Wells is with us, and we're looking at some handbook revisions. The key revisions are identified through strike-through for deletions, as our board policy does, and in bold text for additions. Those are in your board packet. A couple things that we want to point out. I'm going to point out one, and then I'm going to turn it over to Joel, and he's going to point out another one. In the training rules, you'll see under vaping, we in the past have had a counseling session, some guidance sessions, meeting with students the first time they get caught vaping, and then the second and third subsequent vaping incidents, you lose participation. We have increased that to now on the very first time, you're going to lose participation with vaping. And the second time, we've increased the amount of participation you're going to lose due to a second vaping incident. So you'll hear from our principals later, but our athletic department's leading the way, and our principals are going to come up with stronger stance against vaping during school hours, and I appreciate our athletic handbook reflecting that. Joel, what else do we have to share with the board?
Yeah, we've added that athletes that quit a sport at the beginning of practice or the current year or after the first competition would be required to meet with one of the athletic directors and complete a release form for the current sport. We want to be able to track that. We want to be able to keep the pulse on each program, on what's going on, and we don't want to make it easy for an athlete to quit a sport just because of that. And we don't want to have a situation where, you know, one sport's not going very well, so we're just going to bail on that one and go on to the next one. And so we want to be able to track that and keep the pulse on each program on what's going on, and we think that would be, I feel like we can get some good input on that, and hopefully we can keep our better pulse on each program.
Kind of an exit interview type system, right? Thank you, Coach. The other thing, too, that's in there, you'll see highlighted, they've identified and added to that a bunch of several positive behaviors that they hope to see, and we're hoping that parents will read that along with our athletes on the positive behaviors that we'd like to see in our programs.
With the exit interview, when a kid quits a sport, that'd be a great thing for each of the sports to add to their parent meeting.
Yes.
So the parents know up front, if your child decides they're gonna, not play, they're gonna have to sit down with the
Great.
I have a question about that also. I assume, of course, any time that a spot is taken and you fielded the team, you don't necessarily open up a new spot like the participant quits. So let's say somebody leaves the softball program, doesn't mean automatically you're going to fill that spot, correct?
Correct. Mostly this is going to be after competition has started.
Right.
And by that time, most of your teams are already pretty much made by then. We don't cut a whole lot of athletes in anything anyway, but that is correct. We don't want, in the day of the world, it's easy to quit a lot of things, and we want to make it go through a process where maybe we can, influence those kids to make a little better choices.
Administration recommends the approval of the 2024-2025 athletic handbook as presented.
And as such, I'd entertain a motion for approval. Have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Ms. Keelan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carries. We'll move on to 7B, consider child nutrition non-payments.
Yep, thanks Coach Wells for being here. Tonight, Mr. Dove and myself and Mrs. Gilly, we're going to provide information and answer any questions you may have about the food service non-payment. I tried to give you a little bit of precursor in our board update that I sent to you. We are recommending that the board of the Harrison School District absorb the negative balance of $5,261.81. This balance is derived from free student debt, which is 99 students, inactive student debt, which is inactive staff debts, staff members who's left the district with the lunch balance, and that's 4, and inactive student debt, students who've left the district and not paid their lunch bill, and that's 5 students. So between all those students, that comes to, those students and staff, that comes to $5,261.81. Mr. Dove, to make sure everyone's clear, would you briefly walk through a little bit of our process of communicating and trying to reach out to parents to pay their debt?
You bet. Starting with kindergarten building, Connie Clark, the secretary, will send home notes weekly, and she will make multiple phone calls to parents. Teresa Harper will print out notes to send home, put into their folders weekly. At Forest, Mark Davidson will make phone calls. They'll discuss parent-teachers conferences with the parent if they show up, if there's a debt. The secretary will reach out to me, Brittany and Tara. If there's a kid that they think may qualify, they'll ask me to look it up and see if I have an application on them or not. We give them one to fill out. Donald Luss, the kitchen manager of Forest, will print off the debt notes, make phone calls to parents also. Skyline, same thing. Discussion at parent-teachers conference. Josh Magnus and Hannah Rossman will make phone calls and make sure the secretaries are on top of getting the notes out into the folders of the school for the kids to send home. Deanie, the kitchen manager, will make phone calls and she prints the notes to put in folders of the kids. At middle school, we have the Chris Reading and Trent Brewer. They call the parents, counselors will bring students in and ask them if they need free or reduced lunch form. They'll contact me, I'll look it up to see if we need to send home a new form or if something has changed. Maybe at the beginning of the year, they were free or they were paid, and then their status has changed, so we need to update their application. And I can do that over the phone as long as they've already provided me with one. Carolyn will also, the kitchen manager there, she prints the notes, makes phone calls, and then they all stay in contact with me. High school this year, Jay Parker done an outstanding job. He's made phone calls. Him and Jay Martin both will bring students in and talk to them. Counselors, Amy Peterson, they got a system where they'll send, they put it on bright neon strips of paper at each progress report with, if the child has debt, with a QR code they can scan online. They have information to contact me if they think they need an application. So they've done a really great job of communicating that your child does have debt. Desiree Neely, the kitchen manager there, does a great job of printing the notes, talking to students, pulling them aside and just, making sure to say, hey, make sure your parents know that you do have, balance, and because we know it's not the students necessarily issue, it's, the parents that should be taking care of the student debt.
Thank you. I think the key that I wanted Mr. Dove to share is, and I also want to brag on our building leaders, we're making phone calls. We're putting bright colored pieces of paper in progress reports that are mailed home. We're sitting across the table or in classrooms where we have parent-teacher conferences, and we're sharing with them on paper, this is how much your child owes. We're making phone calls from the principal's offices and from the kitchen manager's office and from the district office, Mr. Dove, and this debt continues to climb. So want to have more conversations with the board about that. Tonight, we're here just to talk about free students. I want to be clear. I'm going to answer the question you're going to ask, why a free student would have debt. Well, here's what happens. students are going along, and they might go 1st through 5th grade and have lunch charges that are accumulating, and then something happens, an event occurs in their family, and now they're in a free lunch status, and they become a free student with debt already incurred. And the odds of them, likelihood of them paying off that debt is pretty poor. And we're encouraging the board to allow us, in our recommendation, to pay off the free student debt, those 4 staff members and the 5 students that's left our district with some debt. That's our recommendation for tonight. Also, to demonstrate the magnitude of our student lunch balances, while we were talking about it, we have placed in your board materials a list of students who are active reduced lunch. In other words, they're reduced lunch meal students, and those are active students. In other words, they're returning next year. And students who are active regular lunch students, and they're associated, which comes to a pretty healthy sum, as you can see in your materials. The district will be looking at our food service software. I've talked to Jonathan and Susan about this. It's difficult to discern exactly what we've paid for, what we've not paid for, get a good spreadsheet analysis about our lunch debt. Mrs. Gilly spent a better portion of about a week breaking down exactly where students are and getting a clear picture. So we're going to be looking at our software. We're going to look at our communication processes, the way we talk to parents and how we get that information to them, and then try to look at what other schools do that are successful that we've not been able to find anyone that just says, hey, we're super successful at this. We don't have any debt. Everybody's paying their bills. So we're going to just keep working on that. So we're here to answer any questions you may have. Right now, our administration recommends that the district child nutrition program absorb a negative balance of $5,261.81 as outlined.
Before we start any discussion, I would like to go ahead and get a motion for approval so we know what we're doing in regard to that. So does anyone wanted to make that motion?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Burns. Is there a second?
A second.
Have a second by Mr. Burris. Now, any discussion? Can you share with us the balance last year at this time was?
About $35,000, and the balance this year, including the debt that you're about to approve or disapprove, would be $65,000.
Yeah.
So we've jumped about $30,000 in 1 year of student debt.
And
I would say something that tagged into that is this year the state decided that reduced students would also eat free. The state made up the difference between what a reduced and a free student would, so I could picture that those families who were allowed to eat free probably were not thinking about any debt that they had left over from that. So that could be a part of the reason for it growing.
well, essentially 20% of our student population has some sort of debt. The top 36, which is roughly about 1.3%, have $27,000 of debt. I think Dr. Pratt is going to share later with each of you some of the other ideas to discuss, but it's obvious that there has to be some movement in the future to try and prevent this. We discussed it. This is a teacher and a half that we're supporting here.
Well, and at this rate, I mean, I went back to our last year's and I thought it was at 44, and you're saying it was at 35.
Yeah.
Because I went back to the board packet from this time last year that said it was 44, and now we're at 65, and that alone is a 48% increase year over year. And at this rate, I mean, we've got first and second graders with $1,300 in the hole already. So when they graduate, I mean, that'll be a teacher salary as well.
Yeah.
Well, we consciously look at every year trying to control any increases in lunch prices. And those increases in lunch prices would just make these numbers skyrocket if we probably made adequate adjustments in cost. So
It's for
Well,
this is,
the qualifications to qualify for free lunch, I could find those. the reduced lunch that now is free, are those a little more lenient, that people would qualify easier for?
Yes, there is a number where, like a family of four, if you make X amount of dollars under, then you're free, and then there is like a $10,000 window above that, then you're reduced, and then once you hit that threshold, then you're paying.
So since everybody's free now, I mean, that just raises the threshold for everybody that qualified, doesn't it? Since the legislature.
Technically, yes, but they still categorize free and reduced, so we can track those numbers, so there's.
So as far as they're out of pocket.
Yes.
So, I mean, I really do believe our buildings are doing what they can. And, I mean, I don't know, when we talked about small claims court last year, I know other states do that. You know, you just file whatever it is, whatever it costs to file. I really think that probably some of these people could possibly qualify. It's just a matter of getting their paperwork. Is there anything we can do with extracurricular stuff? Or, I mean, do we have any type of teeth to get people to, you know? Because there's names on here, oh, come on. Y'all can pay your lunch bill.
You know those little signs where it says fantastic teacher?
I think we need to be real clear too. You're right, there are people on there we know, they're friends of ours, right? I think we have to be really clear. Have we, I want to support our staff. I think we are working on lunch debt. I want to make sure that those folks are receiving the lunch debt, either through our software system or through hard copy paper. What can we do? Because some of these folks, I think, might be appalled if they knew they owed that much.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay?
Well,
And I think there's a breakdown, and I'm going to take ownership of it and take accountability of it on behalf of the school. That's our job. But I think there's a breakdown in some of the methodology and the way we communicate and how that works. And I'm seeking ways to make sure that what can be paid is paid. And then the people that can't pay it, then we're going to have to find another model or find something else.
So like Jonathan, I mean, how much of your week does it take, you know, for this type of stuff? Because I mean, I know what the buildings are doing, but like.
They will also contact me. Sometimes the parents don't believe that their child is eating also, so they don't have to go look through the security camera footage, or go to a tech commitment and show them that they are actually eating. And then, you know, so there is times where it takes a lot of my week where we're going through, you know, different things. The cafeteria manager will call me and say this woman or man is upset and wants to be talked to, and then I'll talk to them and try to, you know, I try my best to help them out. That's what I'm here. I want everyone to either be free or reduced if they qualify.
Well, and I think, I mean, we've been down this road. I mean, in such a short time, our balance is so large because, you know, we talked about coming out of COVID, nobody had a lunch debt. And now here we are, $65,000 later, and it's out of control. And so I would suggest, I don't know if my fellow board members would agree, but I would suggest at least, you know, the top 20 you take ownership of, and you call them, and you log that, and you report back, and, you know, we've got a grip on this. Like, I've worked in collections. It's a daily grind to contact folks and
About
get them to pay their
95%
bills.
of the phone calls I make, I get no answer.
Well, you gotta try different times a day. You gotta
Oh, I
try
do.
different modes of communication.
Star
We gotta get
67.
creative, we gotta get out of the box,
Yes.
but, you know, I think, you know, maybe it's not working in the buildings. Maybe it's gotta come out of the buildings and you've gotta take more ownership of this, but next year, we're gonna be over 100 grand. You know, if this continues to roll over, and that's a lot more teachers. It sickens me that we're in this boat. And, you know, I know we have software issues, we have, you know, people are working the system. They know that we don't have any recourse. They know that we don't have any teeth, and, you know, they do take advantage of it. But I really believe that we've got to try something different.
Well, there is, you know, there's some things that are possible if you're a senior and about to graduate. One of the things we do is you can't walk unless you pay your bill.
Yes,
But
that's the only teeth we have.
like I say,
That's it.
that's
This first grader,
Right.
and these first graders, that's a long time ago and a lot of debt.
Yes. Gonna rack up some money, aren't they?
That's college tuition right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I think-
kind of what summarized what Ray said, what we're doing is not working. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're just gonna get deeper and deeper in debt. So we've got to figure out a solution somehow, if that's a collection agency, if that's, they can't have recess, they can't have extracurricular activity. I guarantee you, if Coach Pratt's got a soccer player and says, well, your soccer player is not gonna be able to play, he's gonna make sure that soccer player gets their debt paid. So we've got to come up with some sort of teeth into this, and I just use that as an example, but that we're just not, we can't keep going down the same road we're going down.
And we talked about last year, are we allowed to file in small claims? Because some of these would be worth it. I mean, is that what we need to resort to? If they will not get the paperwork in, and they will not pay their debt, or they don't qualify and won't pay their debt, I mean,
Well, let me ask,
what are we allowed to do?
let's ask Dr. Pratt this question. Do you have a plan in place, or are you working on something that you think will generate some results?
I would like to come back to the board next month with a more aggressive plan that you can listen to, and it'll be multi-phased. I think there's improvement areas in a lot of spots that we can do. Some of it is ours, some of it is the collection method like we talked about, but I think I'd like to come back with a plan for you guys, and I can share with it as we get closer.
Okay, does that sound all right to the board?
Yeah.
Okay. Thus, we have a motion and a second currently to approve the write-off of 50, what's the amount, 5,200?
$5,261.81.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carries. We'll move on to item 7C, consider bakery bids.
Yes, and the next few items on your agenda is commodity items. These are things that we use every year. And Board of Education Policy 7.5 and Arkansas Statute 6-21304 requires all purchases of commodities which the estimated purchase price equals or exceeds $10,000 shall be procured by soliciting bids. And the first one is bakery items in your board packet. The district anticipates spending more than $10,000 on bakery goods for the 24-25 school year. 5 vendors submitted bids for sandwich bread, hamburger, hot dog buns, and other bakery items. Cisco, Cash Saver, Tanker Sleep, Bimbo Foods, Springfield Grocer. That's SGC, that's correct, right? Springfield Grocer. Were vendors, and their corresponding bids are listed in your board packet. Mr. Dove's here with us again tonight to answer any questions you have. Our administration recommends the approval of Cash Saver to supply bakery products for the food service program based on prices, locality, vendor reputation, and item availability.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Ms. Keelan. Mr. Dove, do you have anything to add?
No.
Service good, quality of product is good, you don't have any?
Quality is good, it's fresh, quality, others are frozen. So, that alone is a plus. We don't have to eat up our freezer space for bread.
Okay. Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
What?
Nobody likes frozen bread.
Okay. Please make the minutes show that we don't like frozen.
No, you don't. Nobody does.
They will not pay for fresh bread or frozen bread.
Maybe that's.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same. Motion carries. We'll move on to consider the child nutrition bid.
Yes, again, another commodity products, back to board policy 7.5 and Arkansas statute 6-21304. And we do anticipate spending more than $10,000 on food and food service products for the 24-25 school year. 5 vendors submitted bids for frozen and refrigerated goods, dry foods, a la carte, and beverage. Cisco, Pippin, Tankersley, Benny Keith, and Springfield Grocer were the vendors, and the corresponding bids are listed in your Board of Education materials. I'm going to point out at this time, last year, we had a conversation of a little more itemization and clarity in our bids, so we added more materials for you and show you the items that we are purchasing. It's quite a healthy list of items, but we hope that that fulfills what you were looking for from last year.
There's a lot there.
Mr. Dove's again with us. If you have any questions, administration recommends awarding Pippin for disposable and dry foods, tanker sleeve for frozen foods, a la carte, and beverage. These award winners are based on prices, locality, vendor reputation, and item availability. So we're splitting it.
So would somebody be willing to make a motion on this split?
So moved.
Have a motion by Ms. Keelan, is there a second?
Second.
Have a second by Ms. McLaughlin. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same. Motion carries. We'll move on to 7E, consider diesel bids.
Yes, we purchase diesel fuel each year for our buses and our transportation systems. Again, Board Policy 7.5 and Arkansas Statute 621-304. And we will be spending more than $10,000 on diesel for the 24-25 school year. We reached out to several oil companies about submitting bids. Only one submitted a bid, and that was Often Petroleum. And they submitted a bid for diesel fuel. The bid is identified in your board materials. Administration recommends the approval of Often Petroleum to supply diesel fuel for the 24-25 school year.
We have a motion of approval of the diesel bid.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Burnside, a second by Mr. Martin. Any further discussion?
Why just one response? I mean,
Not
that
sure.
kind of puts us in a box, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But we go ahead.
No, you speak to it.
As far as the state goes, we have to demonstrate that we have evidence, that we demonstrate that we reached out to them and asked them to supply a bid as a previous vendor. We have that recorded so that if there's any concern from the auditors or from the Department of Education, that we can show that we did ask them as a previous bidder to bid again, both in food, diesel, gas, tires, all those things.
Ms. McLaughlin, given how the district set up the fueling station at the bus garage, there's no reason for any of the companies to not have wanted to respond to this. I think actively, if we wanted to get more bids, we're going to have to remind them, call them, because there's no reason that TriStar and Empire Energy should have both did this. This is slightly higher, by the
Have they
way.
bid in the past? I mean,
Yes.
this isn't common.
TriStar was a purchase of Magnus Oil Company, but there's individuals there that they have more than enough time, their sales agent to bid this.
Yeah,
So something fails.
Just make sure, and correct me, Mitch, if I'm wrong, but what we're trying to say is the tanks are at the bus barn. All they have to do is drive a truck down and run a hose and fill them up. It's not because it's a complicated system.
So
Correct.
why do you think they didn't respond? That's my
Don't have an
question.
answer. Eric said he reached out to him multiple times and we received no bid.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that they didn't, but they didn't. So Empire Energy is based out of Branson. There's no reason that they shouldn't. Unless they just, well, there's no reason, to be honest, they should have bid.
Does people want our business?
No, sales are down, demand is down.
Should we try again?
No.
Okay.
You're not going to gain, you're going to gain maybe a couple of cents per gallon, if that. What this does is reset for next year that somebody's going to have to say, I really need your bid by this date.
I guess what I'm asking, or what I'm asked is I want to make sure that we don't get some complaint later from vendors that say, well, we didn't like the way business was conducted by the district, we had a short turnaround, whatever the issue might be, and we're saying that that is not an issue.
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
No.
So are any of these vendors losing business year over year?
Yes, TriStar is losing business.
They
That's
want-
what doesn't make sense. They should want every bit of commercial,
Easy business.
this is easy. this is simple. Company of their size and what they deliver, this is gravy.
And in the past, we had a different vendor that did bid, but they wanted us to come to their pumps. And we did not choose that vendor. But that is not one of the bidders that didn't, one of the folks that did not communicate this time. They didn't even respond either, so.
Okay. So a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carried. We'll move on to consider gasoline bids.
Yes, the same as diesel bid, back to Board of Education policy and Arkansas statute. We definitely will spend more than $10,000 for gasoline fuel this next year. One oil company, Often Petroleum, submitted a bid for gasoline fuel. The bid is the price to the district above the dealer's cost, as you can see in your packet. The bid is identified in your board materials. Administration recommends the approval of Often Petroleum to supply gasoline fuel for the 24-25 school year.
Same discussion, so I'll entertain the motion. And we got Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin has a motion. Mr. Burnside with a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same. Motion carries. We'll move on to 7G, consider tire bids.
Yes, each year we submit tire bids for our transportation services, Board Policy 7.5, and again, Arkansas Statute 6-21304. We definitely will spend more than $10,000 this year on tires for the district. The district anticipates, again, more than $10,000. 4 tire vendors were contacted for bids. The district received bids from 2 tire vendors out of the 4, Ozarko Tire and Southern Tire Mart. The tire bids are identified in your board materials. Administration recommends the approval of Ozarko Tire supply tires for the 24-25 school year.
Okay. Could I have a motion for approval of this as well? I have a motion by Ms. McLaughlin, a second by Ms. Bowe. Any discussion?
Who was the previous
Previous vendor last year.
Ozarko. Yep.
Now, also, there's, in your packet, you will see the prices. One vendor offered 2 different tire brands, but the primary difference in these is at the bottom of the list is the installation.
It's the installation service for free. That kind of gets them over the top.
So, any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carries. We'll move on to 7H, here the 24-25 learning goals for Harrison students.
Yes, tonight, Dr. Lyons is going to present to you our goals for our district, and I'm just going to leave it to him. Dr. Lyons, thank you for being here, and go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. We met in a strategic planning meeting sometime in April, and with Kim Kano from Solution Tree in this room, Dr. Pratt, Ms. Gilly, Ms. Likes, Ms. Wilson, myself, and we talked and discussed our possible learning goals for learning for the upcoming school year. These are goals that we've actually been working on. We put them in SMART goal format, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So there's an action plan built in the goal itself to help us reach that. And just wanted to go over those with you and make you aware. We made our principals aware at our leadership retreat in late May, and we'll be visiting with them in July about these goals. These will become part of their continuous improvement plan in their building, and I'll talk a little bit about each goal, but I'll be brief. So SMART Learning Goal 1, and these are in no particular order, it's just the way we wrote them down. But Goal 1 is, by June 2025, Harrison School District will improve the overall proficiency by at least 6% in reading from 54 to 60%, math from 60 to 66%, and science from 52 to 58%, as measured by the 2025 Atlas Summative Assessment. A couple of things I really want to key in. When we talk about attainable and realistic goals, for us to say that we're going to achieve 100% mastery in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 100 years, might not be realistic or attainable. So to go from 54 to 60%, and we break that down, and we break that down by students. Now we can look at data, and we can identify students that are right there on the bubble and help get them to the next level, be it you know, the far level, below level, or the next to where we want them. We believe this will be realistic for our teachers and administrators, already having conversations with some of the administrators about how realistic this is, and so it is a positive way to look at growing. Then we'll reset. I think as we move towards mastery and getting students achieving, that percentage actually might decrease, because the better you get, the harder it is to improve. Those that are on top, there's not a lot of room at the top. I am proud to say, at the OUR Co-op, we are near the top or are on top in every single area, and I'm super, super proud of our staff and principals and leadership. Cannot say that enough, and that's not lip service. We have hard data to back that up. We constantly get comments when we go to state meetings, regional meetings. We want to come see what y'all are doing. So there's a lot of conversations. I met with Jenny Riley, who is with Smart Data. I've known Jenny. I had the privilege of knowing her. My wife had the privilege of working with her. So we had a lovely visit this afternoon. They're competing for our business. They're no longer a paid vendor by the state. They're actually, we would have to pay them. She was coming by to call on us today. We will be having a data analysis with them showing us with the new metrics with Atlas. We talked about setting up a meeting to see if we're interested in purchasing their product or if it would help us. We do have principals, assistant principals that, and our special education department actually use that data extensively the past few years as it was paid for by the state. So now we're just looking for affordability, and so I'm weaving some things into this. Let's go to Goal 2, please, Ms. Gillett. So Goal 2, by June 2025, Harrison School District will improve inclusive practices for students receiving special education services as measured by an improvement of 5% of special education students in general education setting from 62 to 67%, 80% of time in general education setting. What that means is our special education students, rather than being segregated or isolated, they would be included. We're doing a wonderful job of inclusion. Ms. Locke shared a book with us today in our leadership meeting as we were planning some things. Aren't we already doing inclusion? I think that's close to the title, and I would argue that we're doing a wonderful job of inclusion. It's about a mindset. It's not about a particular strategy. It's like building a house. There are a lot of tools to inclusive practices. We're doing those in including students. But we want to try to increase the number of students that are going to be 80% in the general education classroom. That could be an addition of a PE class for some of our students. It could be an addition of an elective class. It could be an addition of a core class for some students. It's not just the electives or the PE classes. But there are a lot of opportunities that we have, and we're just seeking how can we improve our inclusive practices to include students in the general education setting. Why do we want to do that? Because research tells us students perform better when they're included rather than excluded. I don't know about you, but I feel better when I'm included rather than excluded. So it's just a natural thing. I know I see Mr. Wilson here. Middle school does a wonderful job with this. We have a lot of questions, and I think we're thinking about a particular strategy rather than, wow, we're doing a really good job, and just coming back and reevaluating and saying, it's not just a total revamp, it's just tweaking our system and making it better for our kids. And then go through, please. This is one that, and I'll go back to Goal 2 and Goal 1. These are goals that we've been working on. Dr. Pratt, I think since 2017, these are overarching goals that he has been working on. The board has, these are things that Harrison Public Schools was talking about when I came on board 2 years ago. So Goal 1 and Goal 2 are not new, and Goal 3 certainly is not new. By June 2025, Harrison School District will strengthen and improve collaboration as a PLC, a professional learning community, as evidenced by agendas, data analysis, essential learning standards assessments, and school plans housed in a district shared drive. The good news is we have we have all of these things in different places. Ms. Wilson, actually July the 12th, I accepted an invitation from her today, and the summer's already spinning by, but July the 12th, we will sit down, we will develop this drive so that when our principals, when we meet with principals on July the 15th, we can show them the drive. All of our documents, our products, if you want to call them products, our agendas, the data analysis, essential learning standards, all of it will be one-stop shopping in our professional learning community drive. Professional learning community is a culture. It's not an event. It's not something we do once a week or once a month, but it's a culture of collaboration. And I'm very, very proud to be able to serve in a team that is all about collaboration. Dr. Pratt, as a leader, is not, yes, he carries that responsibility, he carries that authority. We carry that authority, but we like to make those decisions in collaboration. That is not sacrificing the decision-making ability or the authority to make that decision. It is gathering input from a variety of sources. The wisdom of all of us is greater than the wisdom of any one of us. I truly believe that. And so as we want to continue to strengthen collaboration, our teachers are doing a good job on Wednesday, early out Wednesdays. We believe that by housing this in a one-stop shop, it will be easier for us to reference as we do our Wednesday walks, as principals, as we're working to implement high-quality instructional materials, as we're visiting those classrooms. We will have a better sense of knowing before we get there what's going on in the classroom. We have a good sense when we walk in, and then we'll be able to provide meaningful feedback to our principals and teachers. So this is a continuation. I would say that all three of these goals are a continuation. We've defined them a little bit more. We've refined them a little bit more. I know the reading goal 1, was pretty high, and we really did a gut check. Dr. Pratt and I attended training this entire year. We were privileged to participate at Little Rock, and we're invited by the OER Co-op to do that. And we did a gut check and said, are our goals attainable? Are they realistic? And I'm incredibly proud of our team to develop goals that are realistic, that are attainable, and that will be good for our community and our students. Thank you.
What's your measurable for goal 3?
So the products, having those products, really and truly, they could literally send those to us right now, but it's very cumbersome for us to do that. Our essential learning standards, Ms. Wilson, several years ago, developed this drive. It's year at a glance, and so those essential standards are there, but we just simply want to move that and create a one drive that every school can go to and access, and then everyone can see our essential standards, everyone can see each other's agendas, so that if 4th grade and 5th grade, which are 2 separate buildings, 5th grade is like, is 4th grade covering this? And we're having those conversations this summer and in vertical alignment discussions, so that the product, the short answer is the products. One of these days, we're going to move on. One of these days, the big thing about this, our teachers, we see constant change, and so those products outlast us, and there's a lot of hard work that go into those. So then as new teachers come on board, it makes it easier for them.
I think the key is what Dr. Lyons has already said, it's attainable goals. And we're trying to make attainable goals that continue to stretch our teachers and our students. And as long as we continue to move forward and reach those goals, we will be a leader in the state, and that's what we want. We want our kids to have the best. I'm going to share a brag. Dr. Lyons and I were sitting in a meeting, and Randy Zook from Workforce, it was a workforce meeting, and Randy, well, we were all there. There were several of the board members there that time when Randy Zook spoke. 3 schools in Boone County are the leading reading schools, and that's Harrison, Bergman, and Valley, and it's leading in the state. And that's why, because we have high standards, high goals, and we're really proud of that. We don't want to let that go. We don't want it to slide. Thank you, Dr. Lyons, that's very good.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Any questions you guys want to ask?
Okay, we'll consider 7I, consider petitions to transfer students.
Yes, in your board packet, you'll see a pretty healthy list of incoming students, which is a good thing, and a few outgoing students as we get ready for next year. Administration recommends the approval of outgoing transfers and endorsed incoming transfers.
Mr. Martin, would you be willing to make, it's a motion by Mr. Martin, is there a second? Ms. Boats has got the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same? Motion carries. Before we go into executive session, I want to mention something. Our summer programs, I told Dr. Pratt this. I see every school district from here to Rogers, Springdale, all of them, there's activity. But here in Harrison, specifically, our summer programs are getting a lot of play. People really have a positive attitude and opinion of all of our summer programs. And it's not that school is in session, but it looks like there's a lot of activity all the time.
We've got a lot of things going on.
We've got a lot of things going on. So we're more than just, spring and, or fall and spring, so. Okay, with that being said,
Yep. Administration recommends the Board of Education enter into executive session for the purposes of elections and resignation considerations.
thank you.
Thank you very much.